Welcome back to the Pot of Greed.
That's right. Another week, more news, more talk. So a couple of quick things just to kick things off. First of all, I saw a suggestion in the comments, and so I wanted to just float the idea to you guys of using a Google form as a way to submit like questions or topics and stuff for the podcast. Mm-hmm. The way that we currently do it is I just do YouTube community tab posts. But I have found that not as many people like necessarily know when those go up, or they might miss them. And by having a Google form, I could even put it in the show notes on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and stuff, and people could see it there.
So that'll always be open for them, right? Like it just open.
Always open, and you can just submit stuff. And for us, it's a little bit easier to check and stuff like that. So we can just quickly get the questions to add to the pot, and
it could be a good way to send a feedback as well.
Yeah, feedback as well. That could be really cool. We could, because like Google Forms lets you kind of pick what type of thing, and it's a whole thing. So if you guys think that would be a good idea, by all means,
maybe
let
you can
us
throw
know.
it in the form.
Yeah.
And in our descriptions, we're now adding the links to the stories that we talk about, so you guys can kind of follow along or reference the stories, so you can see them too.
Yeah, I know that's something that people were also talking about as well. They wanted, like, hey, can you just have links to, what the story is, just if we wanted to read it later on or whatever. So I do think that would be really cool. And also still open to the idea of potentially doing, like, a clips channel on YouTube if you wanted to be able to consume the podcast in smaller pieces, like bite-sized chunks. That would basically be like each individual story that we talk about would just be like its own sort of video,
like the Lunchables version of the Punchcast podcast.
What is a Punchcast?
I just said lunch, and I guess I just combined the lunch with pod, and I got punch.
Yeah, so that would be really cool. And of course, there's other. We're open to anything, so
Oh, not anything.
Yeah, not anything, but
it's not that kind of podcast.
And
it could be.
I also wanted to kick us off with another review. This one comes from Apple Podcasts, although I think next time I'm going to go to Spotify.
Gotta read one of the 1-star reviews next time.
We don't have any. Everybody loves us. Don't change that either. Okay, yeah, this is a 5-star review. It just says, great podcast, not only focused on Yu-Gi-Oh, but they also cover all the nerd gossip in the TCG metaverse. Kind of cool. It's called metaverse.
The word
here.
Metaverse triggers me, but we might get into that later.
I mean, hey, it's like sort of as a TCG metaverse. If you're like a card gamer, you kind of have to exist within it.
Did you know you have to pay Mark Zuckerberg a penny every time you say the word metaverse?
That would be really messed up if that was true. He'd probably like it that way too.
Gotta pay him in Zuck bucks.
Ew, that's okay. That sounds like a college campus, like currency. You know how like
get you some Zuck bucks.
Yeah, it's like these are Zuck bucks or like Lion bucks or whatever your mascot is.
Which I guess nowadays that would just be whatever like cryptocurrency.
Paw points or
Paw points. That was a thing back when we were in college.
So, yeah. Anyway, I guess let's get to the stories, huh?
Yeah, let's talk card games.
So they're in a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh, and like I actually mean that
because
for a change.
We're mostly like people are playing Yu-Gi-Oh right now, so there's less stories, but that doesn't mean interest in the game is like.
Oh yeah, for sure. Not a lot of like big Yu-Gi-Oh stories. Still plenty that like a person could feasibly talk about.
The more into the game you are, the more to talk about. But we're kind of more of a general card game and Yu-Gi-Oh podcast.
Yeah, so lots of regionals were happening. I know.
Trell topped one.
Yeah, Trell topped a regional with a deck he called HBO, which I thought was pretty funny. Stands for Horus Bestial Orcus.
That's right.
And I did do a deck profile of his deck. It's on the channel now, APS Amplifier, of course. So
check that out if you like crazy pile.
Yeah, very much a crazy pile of working
alphabet
cards.
Soup decks.
Yeah, very, very on theme for Trell to make like just a lot of engines, a lot of mishmash, and it worked.
Hey, got him a top.
Yeah, got him a top, so pretty cool. I think that his originality knows no bounds as far as making Yu-Gi-Oh decks for these regionals goes. Also, I mean, I think a story that I kind of was hearing people talk about a little bit. It's not like a huge announcement, but the new Goblin card that's coming
Oh
out
yeah, the
in
Goblin Riders.
yeah. So the Goblin Riders, or I think as they're now going to be called, the Goblin Bikers, are they're going to be in the next set, and
No, no, no! Don't you gloss over that.
that's what they're
No,
called.
I want to go on record. If you've been around this channel long enough, you already know I can't stand Konami's naming translations from the OCG to the TCG. Why did they change it from Goblin Riders to Goblin Bikers when they clearly don't ride bikes?
Yeah, I don't know what that's supposed to be about, but they did show the new Goblin Rare,
Goblin Rare,
Goblin Rare, the new ultra rare Goblin sneak peek card that you'll get for going to Phantom Nightmare. I believe it's called what is it actually called? Goblin Biker
Rider.
Goblin
Rider.
Biker Grand Entrance. So, yeah, people will be able to get their hands on it here in a couple months. It's actually an interesting archetype because I did not know it goes along with the Snake Eye
Yeah,
story.
it's in that lore with Dia Star.
What does that have to do with her? Do we know?
So, Dia Star, we see that she has a wanted poster, right? In the very expensive Secret Rare Quick Play spell. Mm-hmm. Well, the Goblin Bikers, they saw the wanted poster, and one of them spies Dia Star kind of walking around, and now they're all just trying to work together to capture her to get her bounty.
Okay. Interesting. Well, I know that as an archetype goes, it seems like it's just sort of like a rank 3, rank 4, like an Xyz
Yeah,
sort
it's
of thing.
definitely just kind of an Xyz. I wouldn't call it necessarily combo, but everything combos
Kind of
Yu-Gi-Oh!
mid-range.
Mid-range.
One interesting thing about them is their effects can detach materials from Xyz monsters just on the field, which actually makes them
Yours or your opponent's.
Yeah, which actually makes them a pretty good counterplay strategy to Pirelli, which like you can pull Xyz materials off of say like X Pirelli Noir, which is normally pretty troublesome because like when she has or it has 5 or more materials, it's like unaffected by your opponent's guard effects. But you can always pull Xyz materials off of things. Same with like Xyz Encore, that old quick play spell. So that kind of makes these a bit of a check to that deck's power as well.
But I remember when reading the Goblin Bikers weeks ago that my first issue with the deck was that there wasn't like a clear like set of like starter cards for it. So even if it does have some good utility against Pirelli, I mean, it might still struggle as a standalone deck.
Yeah, we'll have to see how it fares, I guess, just in the OCG metagame now that it's out and about.
Maybe it'll be in one of those acronym alphabet soup decks.
It'll
be the G in someone's HGTV deck.
Yeah, there's always a new name. I mean, there's like HBO, then I'm sure.
Horus, Goblins. What could the T be? T-Arlament. What could be V? There's something with a V.
Virtual World.
Virtual World. There it is.
Or I'm trying to think. Is there? Yeah, probably Virtual World. Vernaself. Someone will probably throw Vernaself in there. I remember actually a few years ago, there was a deck called AIDS.
Oh God.
Yeah, they called that was like Artifact. It was Artifact Invoked Dogmatica Shadal.
No.
And I know, like, obviously, like, Trell has HBO. There's something else recent. Like, I know we've had Hat.
Yeah, I mean, Hat's a classic.
Oh, okay. This one was funny. People thought I made this up, but I actually just saw it on, like, Twitter somewhere. Birth Control. It is a
new
Kashtira deck. So Kashtira got, like, top 32 at the YCS a couple weeks ago now. Anyway, it was because, like, Kashtira Arise Heart is banned in the TCG. If you play Kashtira, by and large, you're just playing like Thin Rare, Unicorn, just kind of rank 7 sort of control, sort of just thing. And it relies a lot on Birth, Kashtira Birth, a card that's obscenely strong for like an archetype support. And so people call it Birth Control. And I was just like, wow, Yu-Gi-Oh! Knows no bounds. So
y'all need to chill. Yu-Gi-Oh! Players watching this, y'all need to chill.
So this is where we are in Yu-Gi-Oh! Is calling decks Birth Control. But yeah, so I thought that was kind of an interesting little thing. Let's see. Any other Yu-Gi-Oh! Stuff going on? I guess this week, the new set comes out. What is that called? It has Centurions?
Yeah,
Valiant Smashers.
Smashers, yep.
Yeah, okay. So we talked about this a little bit last week. So there's not really too much new to say. By the time you guys are seeing this, I guess you'll have been able to get your hands on
It releases on a Thursday?
well, Wednesday if you have an OTS store.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Yeah. I want to pick it up.
And yeah, so it's cool. I think that I've seen that the pre-order prices for them are a little bit high. So like, hopefully they're able to be gotten.
Like, I'm hoping that the hype won't be too high, given that we've just got Age of Overlord, we just got Rarity Collection. Aren't y'all Yu-Gi-Oh carded out?
Actually, it's funny you mentioned that. So, well, to finish the thought on Valiant Smashers, I thought you were going to build the Mementos.
The Mementos are less interesting than the
Centurions. Okay, and what's the third one? I don't even remember. I don't feel like anyone talks about the third one
because they don't deserve it. What is their name? It's the
oh man,
I'm blanking.
Yeah, it blanks me.
Valmonica. That's it.
Yeah, okay.
I remembered.
Yeah. So, I mean, what changed your mind about
Mementos?
Yeah. Oh, or are you also going to build it and just?
So, Mementos is more of like, I'm just going to pick that up because no one wants it kind of deck.
Yeah, it'll be cheap.
But the Centurions actually seem competent in like doing what they want to do.
I've heard like people are combining them with like Vanadium and other things like that. So
because they do have a synchro, so you can combine it with other synchro like strategies.
So what you mentioned though before about like how there's been so many packs recently, I saw that Ruxin did a video about this, and maybe a couple other people were talking about it. There's a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh products kind of just firing off like quickly,
going crazy.
Because basically Age of Overlord drops, and then 2 weeks later, Rarity Collection drops, and then 2 weeks later, Valiant Smashers drops. And something that I didn't actually notice about Valiant Smashers until just the other day, like in his video. It's the first time, correct me if I'm wrong, someone, but I think it's the first time, they will, it's YouTube, that they've squeezed out 3 deck builder sets in 1 year.
They did?
Yeah, because Amazing Defenders came out in January.
What was in that one?
And that was Rescue Ace, Pirelli,
and Vanquish Souls.
And no, Vanquish Souls in the middle. And Makonko.
Oh, that's right.
And then the middle of the year was when we got Wild Survivors, and that was Vanquish Soul, the Dinosaur Archetype, Transcendosaurus, and I don't remember what and Nouvelle.
Oh yeah,
and Nouvelle.
Okay, yeah.
So normally they do 2 of these sets per year. Like it's like usually mid-year, end year, mid-year, end year.
Mm-hmm.
Like December, like May, December, something like that, June, December. And this time they actually squeezed in 3 of them, because this set would be like where Amazing Defenders is. Like it'd come out in like January or so.
But it sounds like Konami actually just wants to get as much as they can out for the holidays.
Yeah, that's my guess, is that it's kind of a push to just get a lot out in the holidays, have a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh products on the shelf. I don't know how I feel about it though. I mean, to be clear, this is like a good problem to have in the big scheme of things. Mm-hmm. Oh no, we have too many Yu-Gi-Oh products to buy. Go ahead.
Now, I'm annoyed because I was looking at a sales chart for TCGs for last month. Mm-hmm. I didn't include it in my list of stories because it was kind of dated. But since we're talking about this, I'm really kicking myself that I didn't add it, because while Valiant Smashers wasn't on that list, it showed that for last month the top selling products were number 1. This is from TCG Player, to be clear. Mm-hmm. So limited market. But the Doctor Who set, those Commander decks, was number 1. Number 2 was Rarity Collection.
Okay, yeah.
And then at like number 4 or 5 was Age of Overlord.
Okay.
And it just showed that Yu-Gi-Oh products were moving, outselling many card games last month. And I think with Valiant Smashers coming out this week, Yu-Gi-Oh will continue to be at the top of those charts.
Yeah, I think like having a lot of products like this, there certainly can be some product overload, a bit of just fatigue of things to buy.
Not for me.
But I will say that it's, again, I think it's like there are worse things that could be happening. Like, I think the worst I could say about there being a lot of products is probably just that it might be a little bit like overwhelming for someone new to just like know like what to get. But I think that there's just been so much positive reception for Rarity Collection. It's an exciting set to talk about. It's an exciting set to open. It's finally a product where like it's an easy recommend, and if a person buys it, they won't really be disappointed. Like you're gonna
good value for money, man. Like
it's great value for money. I mean, I've so many sets, and it's kind of weird the way this works. Pot of Prosperity and Triple Tactics Talent are always in the same pack for me when I open Rarity Collection. It's very weird.
Yeah,
so it's like imagine opening a pack and just pulling like Prosperity and Talents and 3 other like decent like reprint cards
imagine
in like one
this.
pack.
I went into our stack of Rarity Collection cards, y'all, and I just like snatched 3 Ashes and 3 Imperms. I ain't tell nobody.
Oh, really?
They wasn't y'all wasn't gonna miss them.
Yeah, we have a lot of Rarity Collection that we've opened, but like it's a good set for that reason. I think if anything, maybe if I just had to be a Debbie Downer, because it's on brand for me. With Valiant Smashers, it is a collector's rare set, and those are mean with the rarities.
They can be rude, especially
3
when
ultras per box.
There's one archetype that most people want. Then there's another archetype that some people want, and then there's another archetype that pretty much no one wants. And those bottom 2 are gonna be most of your pulls.
Yeah, and those boxes they're mean. Like it's like you get 3 ultras per box, and that's all you're guaranteed. And
the good set's always gonna have like 3 ultras.
Yeah, and it's very. I'm still surprised they haven't changed the rarity distribution on those yet. I just feel like it's a bit. It feels like a very dated practice to be that stingy with the amount of foils in a world where, like,
It's weird because it's dated. That's so Yu-Gi-Oh. Like,
yep.
They don't like changing these things. They like these archaic systems of pulling rare cards and pretending like that's okay. It's not. I just want to be clear. What we do with the Yu-Gi-Oh TCG and packs is not cool. But
yeah, I'm gonna go out and just say it one more time. I think that Yu-Gi-Oh needs to just move to mixed rarity system. By mixed rarity system, I mean like cards can be like secrets or whatever, but like also just make a super rare version that's like easy to pull so people can have it. And if they want to spring for the shiny alt art, whatever you want to call it, like version that's like 40, 50, 60 bucks, good for you. For the rest of us, if you just want to like play the deck and get the cards, please just let it be accessible. It would be easier that way. One last quick thing about that set that I didn't know is that they do have quarter centuries in it. It is the first, if I'm right about this, is the first of the deck builder sets that has a few quarter centuries. I think there's only like 3 or 4, but they do have them.
That's something for the collectors.
So that could be for the collectors.
The talk about like rarities and prices of cards. I do want to talk about how Paul and I, we did the Rare Hunter series, and we're currently doing the Slifer Slacker series.
Yeah, new episode of that will be up
very soon.
Pretty soon. Might even be up when you're seeing this. Don't know.
But it's been forced on me to realize that this whole rarity gating powerful cards thing, it's a new thing. This isn't how Yu-Gi-Oh has always been.
Yeah. Like
your secret rares in a box were not always the best cards in the set. Oftentimes they straight up weren't.
Yeah.
Like when Paul and I did Rare Hunters, Paul, what rarity was Pot of Greed?
Yeah, Pot of Greed was a rare in LOP.
What was the rarity of Trap Dust Shoot?
Yeah, that's a common.
Like Brain Control, like all these extremely powerful staple cards that we use in Rare Hunters that we're using in Slifer Slackers, low rarity, easy to get.
Well, something specifically for Slifer Slackers that's like wild to me, because we're doing like the GX era sets, and there's a couple of sets from before here where like it started like Soul of the Duelist and stuff. They did the thing where like cards are just rare and then ulti in the same set, and so just to use a recent example in the set Shadow of Infinity, a not amazing set, but
it's not great, yeah.
The example I'm going to use here is Karma Cut, which was a really pretty impactful like trap card for the time. Discard a card, banish a monster,
Burning Abyss format.
Yeah, like 10 years after its release. but yeah, so Karma Cut, like good card, good staple. You could get it as a rare. You could also get really lucky and pull it as an ulti. And the same goes for like Brain Control. That was in the Lost Millennium. When we started the series, it came as a super rare and also an ultimate rare. And ultimate Brain Control is worth loads.
Yeah.
Especially if you're like a first ed one. but still, like the average person could feasibly expect to just pull like a super copy of Brain Control.
So you could actually use the card.
And that just tells me like Yu-Gi-Oh has not always been this way. Like there have been plenty of successful examples of mainline sets doing a mixed rarity system and people being able to get cards. And so I hope that that's something that they consider changing just for accessibility's sake. I think cards are meant to be cards. Like I think
they're meant to be played by the people who want to use them.
They're meant to be like cards that you play the game with against other people who play the game. I'm not really a big fan of like cards as like this big investment thing and like,
especially when it comes to a hindrance to actually playing the game.
Yeah, like as long as everybody can play, I don't mind like alternate things being like worth a lot or like old school cards. That's a different conversation. But I just mean like when a new set comes out, I think we should all have like relatively easy access to IP or SP Little Knight or whatever card. So.
In case you weren't noticing, guys, I have changed my tune on Little Knight.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, people weren't too... educated.
I learned my lesson, guys. I just want you to know that.
But yeah, no, it's I do think it's true. I think like people should be able to play cards. Okay, I think that's all like TCG side stuff. I do
have one TCG thing. I mean, it's kind of OCG, but I want to bring light to this because I think it's really cool that it's happening. It's not here yet, but in Legacy of Destruction in the OCG, they announced the Yugi support.
Oh my god, I'm so glad you brought this up. We would have forgotten. Yeah, that is the coolest thing. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so in Legacy of Destruction, we have the Yugi support, which it's themed around Yugi's ceremonial duel with the Pharaoh, where they duel for control of the body. Though the Pharaoh wasn't going to take the body, right? He was going to stay around.
He just wouldn't have been. I think the context for that duel is that like he needed to move on to the afterlife, but in order to do that, he needs to lose.
Right.
Because he doesn't like lose.
Because he can't lose.
Yeah.
It's too cool.
Unless you consider like the filler arc where it's like the Doma thing, but that's not exactly.
And we don't talk about him like losing on purpose.
Yeah, or like the Duelist Kingdom thing. But yeah, he needs to like formally lose a duel. That will complete his life. And so that's why he and Yugi.
And it falls to Yugi to put him away or put him down, maybe.
Put him away.
And
sort of.
Yugi uses a deck that has pretty much never been seen before of his like favorite cards in true Yugi fashion. It used like Gandora, Dragon of Destruction, the Silent Swordsman, Silent Magician, the Gadgets, Marshmallow, and all of them have been retrained into their new I guess you'd call them sarcophagus of light forms.
Yeah. So the way that this archetype works is very intriguing to me because it is there's like the gold sarcophagus of light, I believe is what the card is, like a continuous spell, and it kind of enables everything else to function. So all of these other cards and their supports like spells and traps and stuff kind of either search this sarcophagus of light or just when it's on the field they'll get additional effects or it might be like what lets you summon them and all that. And it's unique because these archetypes work together. Like they don't. So like the Silent Magician and the Silent Swordsman aren't really part of like
the silent archetype.
The silent archetypes from before. They just are part of this archetype, and it's neat.
Yeah. They keep the same idea behind those monsters. Like the silent cards, they do kind of level up and get stronger over time. The gadgets are actually 3 gadgets in one card. And they do search. It's kind of limited in what they do. And what this deck reminds me of is it reminds me of 2 different decks. It reminds me of Bujin's because of that protect the tower style of gameplay. But the tower in this case isn't a monster, it's a spell card.
Yeah.
But it also reminds me of the Gate Guardian retrain and support that we got in Maze of Memories. Yeah, Maze of Memories. This kind of mid-rangey reimagining of cards that just make them work together in a cohesive strategy.
Yeah, you can finally make a Yugi character deck. Actually, I was going to say it reminds me of the Horus archetype that we just got in like Age of Overlord, where they're also all about that one, the King Sarcophagus or whatever is the continuous spell, and as long as that's in the field, everything else can kind of fall in line. I think it's cool, though. I think this approach to recreating anime characters who had these otherwise extremely disparate sets of monsters, right? Like just didn't have anything to do with each other.
These cards were random.
All that. kind of recreating them in a functioning archetype together. So it's like if they were to say do this for Kaiba, then it would not be, oh yay, more Blue Eye support. It would actually just be like Battle Ox and Vorse Raider and like cards,
the Judge Man,
and like the Judge Man and stuff, and they're just together and they kind of have one cohesive little thing, and I think that could be really cool. Like, I feel like this is actually going to be a very popular, like, fan deck.
I'm going to build a Yugi deck.
Oh, we'll do it. We will do a theme duel for sure. I think that would be cool to see, is like a Yugi versus the Pharaoh. Because the Pharaoh is really more of like the dark magician.
Yugi deck about to get bodied.
Or is it, though? I mean, like, who knows? It probably will. I mean, like, will this deck be, like, competitive? Yeah, probably not. But, like, it's cool. So.
Oh, we can even have it face against like a Grandpa's Exodia deck or something.
I've always thought they should have given more context to Grandpa's deck. Like, besides just Exodia, like, what is it?
I mean, it's all the cards Yugi used in that first duel against Kaiba, because that was his deck.
Yeah.
So what was that?
I guess it'd be like Winged Dragon Guardian the Fortress, Celtic Guardian.
Yeah, kind of the cards we associate with Yami. I mean, those are Grandpa's
his
cards.
decks. Okay. Yeah, so thank you for adding that story, because I totally would have forgotten. So I guess that's all for TCG.
Yeah, now that's all I had.
All right, a couple quick Master Duel things. So Master Duel's updates and stuff have all happened since last week. A lot of neat little quality of life features actually added to the game.
You can choose your own music?
Not yet. Please add that, Master Duel. Please just let me add my own music. That's all I ask. If you guys will just, that's all I ask. You don't have to ban any certain card or any of that. But yeah, it's just some quality of life stuff, menus and things like move a little faster, whatever. There's more information you can find. They changed the animation for cards when they get like banished or sent from top of deck to grave. Just little stuff. The ritual event has started. I like the selection of loner decks this time.
What they got?
They've got a Blue Eyes Chaos Max deck, a Nouvelles deck, because they just got added to Master Duel. The Hungry Burger deck. Apparently that's a pretty popular one in the event.
It should be.
And then also on the Libromancer deck is a loner.
Oh, that's cool too.
Which I think is neat. So that's fun. And other than that, I mean, it's just kind of Master Duel as usual. I did make a Master Duel Banlist predictions video. It was fun to make another Banlist predictions video after such a long time, because I have not really made those very much in recent years. And I was just reminded of how, like, so for some context, I was just saying in my video, like, they'll probably aim to hit, like, Pirelli, Labyrinth, Kashtira to some degree, and maybe, like, Math Mech or Dragon Link, but maybe less likely so. So those are, like, kind of the 5 big decks in Master Duel right now, and just to varying degrees, a lot of people don't like facing them, and I'm sure Konami will have to do something about them. And it was so funny when I was, like, just first reading the comments on the video, because whenever you do a Banlist video, there's such a strong dichotomy of like, oh my god, yes, thank you. Someone's finally saying like ban this deck. Like I'm so tired of like losing to Labyrinth. Like please just ban them all. And then like you scroll 2 comments down, and it's like, you guys, you need to get good. Stop complaining about Labyrinth. It's totally fair. I don't know what people's deal is. Labyrinth's not even that good. It loses to 1 Ash Blossom. They shouldn't hit it. It's like, and it reminds me of why, I guess, like, I get why companies, like, you can't really just listen to everyone's feedback, because that's, like, the dichotomy you're working with here. And so I also got, like, people's comments in that video where they were, like, I think doing the typical thing where, like, they attributed my predictions to, like, like, serving my own interests.
Right.
Like, people will do that thing where they're like, oh, well, of course you want to get that deck hit. You're just complaining about the decks you can't beat and you lose to them, and that's why you want them to get hit. That's no fair. Just because you don't like the deck doesn't mean it has to get hit. And it's like...
You do like lose to Labyrinth, and like, you know...
Yeah, it's interesting. I think there's this weird thing where I guess people... I play Labyrinth. Like, and I think a lot of people don't know that. Because like when I make these videos, I try to approach them, like I try to carefully not mention what deck I'm using. I just say, here are the decks that are doing really well and I think Konami will likely hit. And I make it a point not to mention if I have or haven't used any of them myself personally, or if I have any vested interest in them. But I know when people see these videos, I think that what they read is like, you're just trying to hit my favorite deck because
it beats your deck.
Because it beat yours. Paul's just salty. He lost a Labyrinth one day, and it's like, no. I mean, I have a Labyrinth deck in real life. I have one on Master Duel. I play them. I like them. It's a favorite archetype of mine, but it doesn't change the fact that it's probably like on Konami's line of fire. And so in my video, I tried to sort of raise a few different just perspectives on how the cards could get hit. Like Labyrinth could get hit this way, or maybe it could get hit this way, or maybe it could get hit this other way. Or also something else that I didn't even mention because it's Konami and it's Master Duel and they hit things in all kinds of ways. I did the same thing for Kashtira, and I also got the same selection of comments where it's just sort of like, yes, like please kill Kashtira. I'm so sick of a Rise Heart. It's like so broken. And then other people who are just like, Kashtira, it's like, please, like, y'all just can't get good and beat a Rise Heart. It's so easy to beat, and Kashtira is so bricky. And it's just like I think I truly understand now. Gamers, like, there's too many opinions to like truly take into account. Like, people don't know what they want.
Just don't hit my deck and hit
everything
other
else.
Deck. That's all I'm at. That's all you have to do.
Beats me ever. If I lost to it, it should be banned.
Exactly.
So yeah, I think Master Duel will probably have another ban list. It probably won't be for a while though, because they've announced the next like Duelist Cup. So it's going to be in like December.
Gotta let that rock.
So that'll have to go through, and then they'll probably do some ban list afterwards. Who knows what they'll hit? But check out that ban list predictions video if you dare, and
hop in the comments and spar with everyone else.
Yeah, you can spar and fight, and I'll take the engagement. Okay, I think that's it for Master Duel though.
Okay. For other TCGs. It wouldn't be a Pot of Greed episode if I didn't have something to say about Magic.
There's the Gathering. Cool.
Let's see, where is it?
What's their new collab?
So they announced a new Secret Lair. That's their kind of limited release of fewer cards, but better artwork. I'd say.
Oh, all right.
So this Secret Lair is Tomb Raider. It feels kind of right. It feels like a good time because the Lost Caverns came out, the last Lost Caverns of Ixalan, which is this whole story about exploring these hidden caverns beneath this area. It feels very Indiana Jonesy, this exploration and whatnot. So we got the Tomb Raider Secret Lair, and it's a bunch of reprints, but they've been Tomb Raider-fied. It feels like it's inspired by more so the original Tomb Raider and not the recent games, or it might be a vice versa. Maybe it's the opposite. I'm not 100% sure. Mainly because I didn't play the remakes. I should have.
Like the newer console games. Yeah.
But there is one new card, and because they actually made a Lara Croft commander that you can use. I hit something and I lost my page. But yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll say this. I think that's a pretty. It feels like a safe fitting collaboration. Like nothing too wild or crazy. Not to say that I'm opposed to wild or crazy, but just that like this seems like it's a.
No, there's no reimaginings here. It's Lara Croft.
It's not,
that's what it looks like.
Yeah, it's not Black Aragorn.
It's not. Yeah, it's not Black Aragorn, and but it's also not polygonal Lara Croft.
That would be funny actually if that's what they made. It was just like just an old school like this is the PS1 model or whatever,
just bricked out and
yeah.
I was about to say bricked up, but no, that's not what that is.
The fans might be, but we'll call it the showing of the cards.
Oh yeah. I can't really show the audience, but you can hit the link to see them.
Heart of the Explorer, the Lost Valley. Okay, you can see here in all these arts. Cool.
For some reason, we use this app called Pocket to save our stories. It gives you like a modified version of the webpage, so we only have 2 images here.
Yeah, I mean, you can go to the full webpage. There's like a button for it. But
I gotta figure that out.
It's like in the top corner. So if there are more card images, we will be linking this story, by the way, now. As we've said, we link these stories, so if you guys want to click it in the description, you can check it out. Oh, yeah, Lara Croft, Tomb Raider. Oh, I like the art for her. I like the art for a lot of these. The Grim Whisper.
The artwork is actually really...
What is that? Totek's Spear? Mm-hmm. This is cool. Okay, as somebody who... I don't know a lot about Lara Croft personally. Like, I didn't have a PS1 and stuff.
I didn't know her very well myself. Just because, like,
she's a person. I don't know of the series very much personally. But
actually, now that I look at this artwork, it does feel like it's inspired by the remakes.
it feels like it has the same kind of look that most of them do. But I didn't have a PS1, so I never really got to play like kind of those original
You
Tomb
didn't have
Raider
a
games.
PS1?
Wait, well, my sister had one, but it was all like kind of the games she wanted, basically. Which was a lot of Digimon games. Actually, they had Digimon like Rumble and Crash Bandicoot, Crash Team Racing. But I really like the art on those.
Yeah,
it speaks to me. If I was a Magic player, which I'm not,
soon
until they make their Harry Potter collab, then I will be.
Final Fantasy's next year,
or that I'll play for that. I like the art. I really do. I think it's cool. So Secret Layers means like I guess it's like a more limited run.
Yeah, it's only for a period. I think it's only for a month or so.
So did that just come out, or is it like coming out like next year or something?
Oh, that's a good point. What's the date on that?
I didn't know if that was like a thing that you're meant to buy for Christmas.
I don't think it's out quite yet because they just announced it. This announcement was on the 13th. The
Christmas thing is like Jurassic Park or something, right?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, because I remember reading that. It's like Jurassic Park and something else.
November 20th.
Oh, so it is this month?
Yep, looks like it.
Oh, okay, cool.
But only available for a limited time.
Yeah, maybe I'll just buy one, like just to open Lara Croft and see what that looks like. I don't know.
I feel like I might get one. I like the Tomb Raider series. I will play the newer ones at some point.
Cool. Any other card game stories? I don't have too many other card game ones, but I wanted to kind of get them all together if you have more.
I have a card game adjacent one.
Sure.
This is a Pokemon story. Pokemon actually released a new, or at least they released a trailer for a new Netflix show.
Oh, I know what you're talking. Wait. That's the one called like Pokemon. I forgot the name.
Pokemon Concierge.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So Concierge. It's a stop motion Pokemon kind of cartoon about a girl and her Psyduck as she doesn't run it, but she works at a hotel for people in Pokemon.
They previewed this actually back at Worlds.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, that was all. It was like a very brief preview. So what happens here?
So, like I said, it's a stop motion animated deal where this girl Haru and her Psyduck are helping. They're helping at this hotel for people in Pokemon, and she can't really talk to the Pokemon, so she kind of has to just figure out what they need and what they want so that they can all enjoy themselves at this hotel. It's a very like heartwarming, kind of feel good, like entertainment piece. This isn't some drama filled battle shonen, you know? Like,
I mean, if it's stop motion, man, that's gonna look cool. I haven't gotten a chance to look at the trailer, so I will check that out actually right after we're done.
Yeah, and it's gonna be in the description. Just hit the link, check it out.
That reminds me, actually, too. We did watch finally the Paldean Wins episode.
Oh yeah, we watched the second one.
Yeah, the second one. I wanted to maybe cover it because it's been out for like 2 weeks now or something.
We're always behind.
But that was also really cool. It was about like the guy who's trying to beat Nimona, and he doesn't like trust his Pokemon to be able to do it. Which is
it will never be Meowscarada's fault. It will never be.
And there's like the weird thing with the candy that they shared, and he opens the candy and gets like the lucky thing inside, the chocolate ball, and
it's kind of a feel good story about a boy kind of rekindling his bond with his Pokemon.
Yeah, it brings me back to that age-old thing I've wanted in Yu-Gi-Oh for a long time. That the Pokemon just always makes you so envious of their ability to. They make so much just like kind of alt media, like just little short series. Like there's always like the Pokemon Origins, Pokemon Generations was out. Like,
but like you do know Yu-Gi-Oh did that, right?
I mean, did it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh has an entire season that's just Pokemon.
Well, go on.
Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh Capsule Monster.
Way back in what year?
2006.
Yeah, like 5, 6.
No, yeah, it was after the original run of Yu-Gi-Oh. It's after Battle City, after pretty much everything. 4Kids was like, we need more Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah, it's like a mini arc thing.
And they commissioned an entire Yu-Gi-Oh season it was Pokemon. But like Yu-Gi-Oh-fied. So they had these like kind of dual disc things, but they shot capsules so that they could capture and summon their monsters.
Yeah, you know, I think like Yu-Gi-Oh should get back to that. Now, so they technically have equivalents of that like in the OCG. Like they're not like video series yet, but like I think of like the Yu-Gi-Oh! The Structures manga. What is that called?
Oh yeah, OCG Structures.
OCG Structures, where it's like just about sort of normal people playing these decks that are like
That's not
real life decks.
Pokemon-y. That's like Beyblade-y.
Well, I don't need it to be like Pokemon. I just need it to be like I want Yu-Gi-Oh to get like a monthly short that it releases.
Okay, alternative.
Yeah, like alternative media that kind of just sort of fills out your Yu-Gi-Oh fandom a little bit. So when there's not a currently running anime or whatever, it's just like, hey, here's Yu-Gi-Oh like structures, like OCG structures. They're just playing whatever kind of the most recent like actual real life sort of decks are. Or there's that idea that everybody has about making like a like Albaz lore into sort of a mini art, like a mini anime, or you know the Visas lore right now, or Snake Eyes lore, or even just doing like what Magic the Gathering does, where like when a new set comes out, they have a trailer for the new set.
Oh, the trailer.
Yeah, and like even if it's like only like a minute or two, I mean that alone can be enough to I think get people into the mythos of like what's going on with these archetypes.
Contextualizes what's happening in the artworks. It engages people.
And I know like maybe I'm asking for the moon here. It's Konami, but like, come on, you can do a little more.
I mean,
like,
with Konami, how are you gonna monetize it? You know, like
that's probably what they're asking. Can we get money from it? No, then we'll never do it. So, yeah, it really sucks, but I would certainly like it. I know Pokemon Paldean Winds, it's been good. This Pokemon Concierge looks good. And I also think Pokemon Horizons, I don't have a story for this, but I did see this past week that they announced it's like going to be coming out, I think, this December on like...
I thought you've been watching it.
I've been watching the Japanese version.
Oh, that's right. You watch it illegally.
But I think the English dub is supposed to be coming out like in December. So that'll be really cool. I believe it's going to be on Netflix. I don't take my word for that. Am I going to... If they... Okay, I'll only watch it if they release it in like a big chunk, like in the Netflix way,
so
you know?
You don't support English voice actors?
No, I do. But I'm only watching it in that. I'm not about to watch week to week this dub of this show that I've already been watching week to week. Don't give me that. Like, I'm not... Jesus Christ. Because, I mean, the thing is, I'm so...
Let's cancel them, y'all.
Like, it's on, like, episode, like, 27 or something now. So, like, I don't want to go back to episode 1 and then watch, like, week to week. Now, if they do the thing where, like, it comes out on Netflix and it's, like, episode 1 through 25 all at once or something, sure, I'm okay with that. Like, I'll do that. But I just don't... Because I'm interested in, like, how the English voice cast sounds, but I'm not, like, watching it week to week. That's not happening. So, yeah, cool. I guess that's the Pokemon new Pokemon show. All right. Well, I have some video game news and some movie news. You can take your pick as to which one you want to talk about first. Games or movies?
Movies.
All right,
for
movies.
500.
Movies for 500. That's not what the Marvels made at the box office. If we're talking millions.
Oh, here we go.
The Marvels movie bombed at the box office, and here's what it means for the future of the once mighty MCU, says this article headline. So as you guys know, that new movie, The Marvels, came out this past week and has not been super well received. I know it did not have very promising, like, pre-order kind of ticket stories weren't looking great for it.
Do we actually look at ticket pre-orders for movies now?
I do not personally, but if you ever happen to scroll X, I'm fortunate enough to experience
Twitter.
that,
X, Twitter.
Then you'll see people screaming about these things anyway.
I've never pre-ordered a movie ticket a day in my life.
Neither have I. I didn't think the people really did that, but I mean, I guess maybe it does if it's going to be a big thing. You don't want to miss the one showing with your friends. But.
I mean, I guess for Fathom events things, I've technically pre-ordered tickets.
I bet people
for domestic release.
I bet people probably pre-order them for in-game. Because the movie theater would be so packed, so you might want to order. But I feel like it's not a pre-order. That's a just ordering your ticket that morning thing.
But you just reminded me, people were actually pre-ordering their tickets for Endgame. Now that I think about it, because I remember my cousin told me weeks before the movie came out. Yeah, I got my tickets locked up, cousin.
Oh, okay.
You mean you got them locked up?
But I guess that's like only probably for like those big like event of the century type of movies.
All right,
Like,
relax. Endgame wasn't that big of a deal. Y'all can kill me in the comments if
Yikes,
you
we have
want,
people to
but
say.
I stand on that. I truly stand on that.
Yeah, I feel like that would be like for, you know, your end games, your Deathly Hallows, your like, you know, maybe a big Star Wars thing. But anyways, okay, so the Marvels bombed at the box office. It's scored the lowest grossing opening weekend in the 15 years since the original Iron Man made it a global pop culture force to be reckoned with. It opened to $47 million domestically. It's like the United States.
That's a lot of money.
And just under $100 million worldwide. It's the worst start for any Marvel film since The Incredible Hulk back in 2008. So the box office wasn't the only bad news for the super trio of Brie Larson's Captain Marvel, Iman Vellani's Miss Marvel, and Tiana Paris's yet-to-be monikered Monica Rambeau. Critics were divided in their reaction.
They didn't give her name yet.
That's what
In
it
the
says in
comics,
this article.
she's called Spectrum.
Well, critics were divided in their reaction to the Marvels, and the movie's B-level cinema score pointed to a lack of fan enthusiasm as well. Here's what you need to know about the mighty Marvel's Flameout and what it means for the next phase of the MCU. Now, I'm not going to talk too much more about that part because I know that gets into spoilers, and there probably are some listeners here who maybe haven't seen the movie and want to see it. I have not actually seen the movie myself, and I also would like to see it soon if I can. I'm trying to keep up with like my
Drop
Marvel
spoilers
stuff.
in the comments.
But I will say that the Marvels also had the misfortune of closing out a rough year for Marvel Studios. 2023 saw the studio releasing creatively and commercially underwhelming releases like Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania and Secret Invasion, announcing a mid-production reboot for the Disney Plus series Daredevil Born Again. We talked about that a couple weeks ago. And parting ways with high-profile executive Victoria Alonso. While Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 and Loki Season 2 provided much-needed bright spots, both also represent farewells to popular characters that Marvel maybe can't afford to lose right now. All right, let's hear it. Your thoughts. Has somebody who is a Marvel Comics fan...
I am.
And you've seen the first Captain Marvel movie?
Yeah, I have.
Have you seen this movie?
No.
But you've seen most of the recent Marvel stuff.
Yes.
All right, let's hear it. Go.
So I was one of the many who wasn't chomping at the bit to go see the Marvels, and that's actually not because I dislike any of the characters or even the actresses that lead the film. I'm just not that enthralled with the MCU right now. I haven't been for a while, but almost especially so now. The Marvels doesn't feel like it fits anywhere. Like if you've been a Marvel MCU fan for a while, it's kind of hard to see like why should I go see the Marvels if you've been pushing this whole Kang Dynasty thing and you've been telling me how it's all about the multiverse, it's all about Kang. I'm like, well, what does that have to do with Captain Marvel? What does that have to do with Monica Rambeau? What does that have to do with Miss Marvel?
My suspicion is that, maybe there's some post-credit scene that...
And see, I'm not doing that anymore.
Okay.
The whole post-credit, relying on post-credit scenes to tentpole one film to the next, that's done. That's over with. I'm sick of waiting through all the credits just for an underwhelming post-credit scene. No, that's done.
Yeah, I have some quick thoughts on that whole post-credit scene thing. I know from Marvel that they kind of popularized the post-credit scene.
They did.
It's existed before, but Marvel was the first to make it where this it really previews the next thing and alludes to the next thing to watch. It was very cool when it first happened. Remember, don't leave the theater yet. And I think that was a really cool thing. I do feel that now it's kind of felt a little more like they use them almost out of necessity, as a marketing tool to let you know exactly what to watch next, and there's already that big thing where it's you need to kind of watch this show and watch this other movie so that you can fully understand the context of where this new movie takes place. So I'm not as big a fan of them, but anyways, continue.
But the Marvels and the characters associated with it feels like filler to me. Miss Marvel was coming from the Miss Marvel Disney Plus show. This was not a movie. It was a TV show that not some people watched and some people didn't. Monica Rambeau is the same thing. She came from WandaVision. A lot of people watched WandaVision because that was one of the first Disney Plus shows. Period. But like, these are two characters coming from TV shows, and then you're having them join up with Captain Marvel, and I love the Captain Marvel character. I like Brie Larson. Fine. It's just
Go ahead. I'm just adjusting the camera thing.
Oh, okay. But Captain Marvel so far has had nothing to do with time travel or multi-dimension nonsense. When we saw Captain Marvel, it was like a whole Skrull type story that was more tied to Secret Invasion, and we saw how that show went. So honestly, I couldn't get excited for this movie.
Well, there's actually another reason I just saw in this article why people probably couldn't get excited about this movie. Is probably because they kind of forgot about it. Why? Because besides Marvel's in-house problems, the Marvels also had to contend with a Hollywood landscape impacted by the Screen Actors Guild strike, which prevented Larson and her co-stars from doing any promotion for the movie for nearly 4 months. So when the strike ended on November 9th, Disney wasted little time making Larson available for a last-minute promo run, but some box office analysts have suggested that was too little too late. Now, that is not a Marvel-related thing. Like, that's not their fault per se. That's just a general film industry thing. But yeah, I do think that because there was not a lot of like talk leading up to this movie, because the actresses couldn't really do interviews and that sort of thing and promotion for it, that probably didn't help with knowing that it's going to be in theaters.
I think if Brie Larson would have been telling me to watch the movie, I probably would have been more excited to see it.
Yeah, if she came knocking door to door.
Because now I think about it, without promotion, that really hurts.
I mean, because that's the thing. Like, when a lot of people actually don't know this, but like whenever the actors do their media tours before movies, that's why you suddenly see like 10 videos on your YouTube homepage of like Tom Holland and Zendaya doing these cutesy, fun little interviews, suspiciously like right before a Spider-Man whatever comes out.
They're hitting up every single talk show.
Yeah, they're on every talk show. They're on every doing every little interview and fun YouTube thing. And they're on Hot Ones and Wired.
Like, oh look, Tom Holland's rapping along to so and so.
Yeah. So they definitely, they couldn't do that with the actor strike. So yeah, I mean, this kind of sucks. I'll also take this opportunity to pivot to Loki season 2.
Before we get to season 2, I just want to say I do intend to watch the Marvels. I just didn't watch it opening weekend.
Yeah, nor did I. I hope to be able to see it at some point soon, and maybe we can talk about it once we do. I do want to talk about Loki season 2, just kind of in brief. I mean, I figure why not? People kind of like the last Marvel discussion we had. So, thoughts on Loki season 2? It's over now. Spoiler warning, by the way, if you have not finished the series.
I will not be delivering any spoilers myself.
Okay. We can keep the spoiler free.
I don't need to talk about spoilers to sum up how I feel about Loki.
Okay.
Loki season 2 is worse than Loki season 1.
Oh, okay.
But that's not to say Loki season 2 is bad or that the Loki franchise is bad. It's still one of the best Disney Plus shows around. Mm-hmm. I would say that it's still just under Loki season 1 is a second to WandaVision to me. Loki season 2 is in third place behind Loki season 1. So it's worse to me than the season 1. But that's not that bad.
Okay, so into specifics, what does that mean? Why is it?
I hate time travel. Okay. And time travel was in season 1, but season 2 relied on it so heavily that time travel was more important than Loki for most of season 2. And I got invested in Loki season 1 because it was about Loki. Loki was growing as a character. He had to sit down and see who he was, and he had to grow from that. Most of season 2 is just time travel, hopping around shenanigans.
Yeah. Okay. Well, for me, I have not actually watched Loki season 1, but I have watched Loki season 2. So I come from a very why are you even watching this kind of background really with this? But yeah. So I have seen Loki season 2. Not knowing anything about season 1 made it interesting to watch because there were some characters and stuff where I was like, I don't know who these people are. But while I don't mind time travel stories like too much, I do always find it weird how time travel, like in that show and in many other pieces of media, games, anime, whatever, is almost depicted as like as though time kind of is like an address on a street type of thing, like where we just conveniently end up like at exactly the time period and exactly the place that we need to be for the story to continue. Like it's always very weird, but
Especially since in season 2 they bill like this whole multiversal event as time is chaotic now.
yeah,
But they're still able to just punch
Conven-
into their GPS and just go.
exactly. Like it's weird because like they kind of will tell you about like all these branching timelines, but also they still know exactly where to go, and they still kind of just go to like the one timeline that matters just 30 years before or like X years after or whatever. So, but that aside, I do feel that the show didn't seem like it was very much about Loki. Like at least not until kind of towards the last third of it or so. Yeah, like early on, I was like, what does this have to do with him? Because he's just sort of he shows up and they're trying to like solve a bunch of different problems, but it doesn't seem like it's like he has very much agency in what's going on. He's just sort of following along with everybody and just sort of being where he needs to be along with everyone else.
Like the vast majority of it is just we got to save the TVA.
Yeah, and it doesn't seem like there's like he has a personal stake in like what does or doesn't happen.
Like,
and
I could if like you didn't have to know he was an Asgardian in the first.
Yeah, like that had nothing to do with
you didn't have
with
to
any
know.
of this. And so I would really call it like the TVA season 2. Like that's what it felt like because there's so much talk about like the TVA's this, the TVA's that. It's gonna fall. It's not gonna fall. Like he who remains, and it's like, but Loki doesn't seem like he like. Not that he doesn't care. Like he clearly cares about like the people and like helping out, but it just doesn't seem like it has anything to do with his growth, his story. And so in that way, I'm watching the show called like Loki season 2, but it doesn't seem like it's really about that. But I liked the show because I liked the aesthetic of the show. I liked the vibe. I think that kind of like 60s, 70s office kind of like government job feeling that the TVA has. I like the analog technology of everything. Like it feels like, there's like a telephone booth type of feel to it. I think the color grading and like the very cinematic presentation of a lot of the scenes feels to me at least a distinct step above a lot of the other Marvel Netflix shows. None of them have really been able to like capture a look and a vibe. I think the only thing I would say is comparable, and just in terms of like feeling that unique and that like bespoke, was probably Miss Marvel in its first 2 episodes. I think had that, not like it's a totally different look, but like it also is it
had its own unique look.
Very unique look that you can tell they put a lot of work into like the transitions, the colors, like the creative way that they kind of just show everything. So yeah, I think that those were like big points in Loki season 2's favor for me.
I hate walking away from these Marvel Disney Plus shows thinking this could have just been a movie. That's happened more times than not. I remember when I watched Falcon and Winter Soldier, and I was like, well, that could have just been a movie. I remember watching Moon Knight. I'm like, that could have been a movie. Just because oftentimes these shows, they feel like the story could have been told in a much more concise manner and with better quality in a movie than in their TV show forms. I was glad though that by the end of Loki, I felt, no, this was right to be a TV show.
I think Loki could have also been a movie personally, just because like there was a lot of like going back and forth and time and stuff, and I feel like I might have actually enjoyed that more in the theater. But I get what you mean. I think it works out in either form.
Like, by the end, by the end I was like, okay, this probably needed to be a TV show just to tell as much story as they ended up doing. It really required the last 2 episodes though, because before then I was like, I don't know. But I think it did need to be a TV show. It's kind of how I feel about like WandaVision and some other Netflix Disney Plus shows. I think they did a good enough job.
Well, at any rate, so that's them sort of the Marvel's situation. Hopefully the film can kind of recover a little bit in these next couple of weekends. They will at least be getting my ticket. Not because I'm super invested in it, but just because, like, whatever. I've been watching most of the recent Marvel stuff, so I just want to watch it and see what this is like. Who knows? It'll be good or bad or middling.
Something in between.
But I will watch it and talk about it, I suppose. So, anywho, got another story for us.
What you
if
got?
Not, then
me. Okay.
If
I
not,
actually
I've got
do
like
have
video game things.
I actually have a film one as well.
Oh, okay.
So they just dropped a trailer for the new Madam Web movie. Now I know, Paul, you don't know who Madam Web is.
That is a Spider-Man character?
But it is in fact the Spider-Man character.
Okay, yeah.
So this is a part
a
of
Marvel thing?
Sony.
Okay, like that's Sony Marvel side or like just Sony Spider-Man?
It is Spider. This will be in the Sony Spider-Verse.
Okay.
Not Spider. Oh, that's confusing. Not Spider-Verse in so it's like Miles Morales Spider-Verse, but in this. How do
I hear you.
That okay. So
gotcha.
Madam Web.
Gotcha. but okay.
So Madam Web tells a story about this. She's a paramedic. What's her name? It's something Webb, not Madam. I can't find her actual name. Anyway, it's a paramedic. Her last name's Webb. That's how you get the whole Madam Web thing. And it's a Spider-Man adjacent story where it's a female-led cast. Those are the leads. And they're fighting a Spider-Man-like villain.
Okay.
It was. I saw a bit of the trailer. It was very weird. It was very kind of weird to see this guy who's dressed up kind of like Spider-Man, but distinct enough to know it's definitely not. He just stabs her and it kills her. But it was a premonition for Webb, so she can see the future and how she combats the future, how she changes it or works with it to accomplish her goals. That's the character. Now, many of us know Madam Web as an old lady who sits in a wheelchair, but this is like a prequel to that. This will be
probably a bit
young,
spry
Madam Web who could throw hands. I guess. I mean, not every paramedic can fight, but I guess this one can.
Right. Okay. Interesting.
But
so this is going to be a movie? Yeah,
this is a movie in the greater kind of Spider-Verse, along with Kraven the Hunter, Venom 3.
Oh, so Kraven the Hunter's getting a movie?
Yes.
I thought he was just in that video game recently.
No, that's just
two separate?
A coincidental,
okay,
happy coincidence. No, it's not. It was planned.
Probably.
But August 2024. That's when Kraven the Hunter releases.
Okay.
And then Venom 3 is in November 2024.
Interesting. And so, Madam Web, is that like 2025? Or just maybe?
I don't know I don't think they gave us a. Oh, here we go. Due to hit theaters February 2024.
Oh, so it's actually going to be like soon.
Yeah, it feels weird that this is going to be coming out before Kraven, but it's all because of that. I think the actors strike. Information has been kind of like for announcements was all delayed. So
yeah, so there's no telling when
it
they
feels
actually intended
weird
to announce it. Well, if that's the case, I'd like to go and see this movie. I have not enjoyed the Venom movies very much.
I will stand on that. Venom 1 is an okay watch. Venom 2 is a slog.
I have not seen Venom 1, so actually I've only seen Venom 2, so maybe I should shut up with all my blabbering. But
you consistently see sequels,
well,
not originals.
Yeah. Well, listen, I should probably, I guess to give some background on like why that kind of is. I'm not like a really big moviegoer, or at least traditionally I haven't been. Only in the last like few years of my life have I made a conscious decision to sort of like, hey, I want to just go and see these movies. Like I want to see like what everyone's talking about with Marvel, and I want to like kind of be involved in more of that. So I've been trying to see more like movies, Star Wars movies, Marvel movies, whatever. And as a result, I'm kind of only just like see like I watched so and so 3 or whatever, and I didn't see 1.
Paul shows up for the worst parts.
Yeah, I do seem to kind of end up in some of the not as great ones, but yeah. So I'll give this a look. It's like my main problem is I did not like Venom 2 enough to even want to go watch Venom 1, and that's not a mark against Venom 1. I'm sure it's
Venom 2.
I'm sure it's wonderful. It's just that like. You know. So anyways, yeah, I did not care too much for Venom 2. The only things I've really liked have been the Spider-Man movies. Spider-Verse, amazing. Tom Holland, like Spider-Man, like Homecoming and all that stuff, great. Those have all been really good. So I have faith that they will continue to do a good job.
I have my doubts, but hey, you keep on being optimistic.
Listen, I'm saying faith in that like kind of fakey podcasty. We're optimistic about the future way, but also it's like, yeah, they could just kind of end up being shit.
Every Marvel fan knows optimism does not belong here.
It feels like as a Marvel fan, I mean, like optimism's like not at an all-time high. Just in general.
I mean, anytime when you are a fan of a franchise where death isn't even a real consequence.
Yeah, I mean, we've heard those Kevin Feige interviews where he's just always like, yeah, characters can come back to life if they're popular.
It's like they're gonna do whatever like pays the bills. So, maybe Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow's sacrifice was extremely moving and it just rocked you to the core of your soul. It might not matter. That might just get undone.
Here's a movie I want to hear from you about.
What's that?
The Digimon movie. You saw this recently, yes.
Oh, yeah, I did.
Tell me about this. Sorry if I'm putting you on the spot.
There was the Digimon Adventure 2, The Beginning movie. The beginning of what? We're not sure because I watched that whole thing and I don't know where they're going with that. So for a little bit of context, it's a movie about the Adventure 2 series, the one with Davis, Vemon, and those kids, not Tai in the gang, the other kids. Yeah. And many people going to go see this movie, they are expecting a movie about those kids. It's like if you were a fan of Adventure 2, if you love the dub, then that's what you want to see. That's not what you get in this movie. And it's purposefully done. The Adventure 2 kids are just there to be emotional support for the real main character, Louis.
Yeah. Much
like Willis in it was Hurricane Touchdown, but for us that was all bundled into our Digimon movie. Louis is the main character. He has very significant traumas with both people and his partner Digimon. Mm-hmm. And it's the Adventure 2 kid's job to console him and then drive him from point A to point B.
Yeah, to kind of like, I guess, solve his problems. Yeah, it's an interesting movie. I also saw it. So you got some Digimon TCG cards for...
Yeah, the cards are fire. Promos. The first 50 people who showed up to those screenings got the cards. And our screening had maybe 8 people.
Like 10 people at most. Yeah. It wasn't big. I mean, I think it was only in theaters for like 2 days. So
and you know what? They were right to do so because if other screenings were anything like that, they would have lost a lot of money.
Yeah, my take on the movie was that I feel like it needed more action.
There was not
a lot of action in that movie, and I expected more for like. When you go to see an anime movie, like it's going to be in theaters at least. I know there's like anime movies that don't really get in theaters, but like it's Digimon. Like it's a kind of action monster collector, shonen-ish, that kind of thing. I kind of expected like Sakuga Fest, light show, just a lot of fights.
There were moments.
And major like Digivolutions, but it really didn't feel like that took a backseat to just telling this story that was a good, like, kind of heavy character thing.
Don't spread misinformation. All the Digimon did fight. They fought these nameless tentacle things. And some of them even got beat by the nameless tentacles. And that was just sad to see.
Yeah. I didn't care for that. I think they could have given them maybe a more, like, villain, like, specific things to be fighting.
The villain of this movie, I think, was miscommunication.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't think it was like a bad movie. It was refreshing to see those Adventure 2 kids again and all that. Even if they weren't, like, it wasn't really about them, it was nice to see them. It was nice to see Vemon.
I think the vast majority of people would have liked to see it be about them.
Yeah.
See them grow as people. Because in the movie, they're pretty much all well-adjusted from the start and finish.
Yeah. Yeah. It's... neat movie. I mean, I think like with these Digimon movies, they would do well to just release like a Digimon movie with just like a lot of just kind of mindless action. Like, and I'm not saying that would be like, I know there's these people who I want intellectually stimulating stories, but like
that's all they do in Digimon.
I'm gonna be honest, like these kind of newer Digimon movies, I feel like they lean too heavy into that and forget that like Digimon, it's like a monster evolution collecting like kind of thing. Like just let the monsters get really big and turn into their giant werewolves and dinosaurs and whatever, and just fight and punch
Paul
and
just
kick and
wants
shoot.
it to be like the Godzilla movie franchise. Just
all right, and here's why
pump
I say
up two kaiju and bash them.
Well, listen, here's why I kind of think that that's what Digimon needs. Because in my view, and people are free to disagree, or maybe if I'm viewing this the wrong way, let me know. I think Digimon's kind of faltering success in the modern day is largely because they have not leaned into a lot of what made some of the originals popular. So I'm not saying that it actually even has to be Agumon and whatever. Again, I'm just saying that trying to tell these really mature stories and stuff, as opposed to getting a lot of action that I think a Digimon viewer would maybe more so want. This is like an anime movie in theaters, right? It's kind of supposed to be a little more exciting.
We had to drive 2 hours to go see it, and I'm not gonna lie to you guys, it wasn't worth it. I mean, it was worth it for the cards, but not for the actual movie itself. I could have just watched that on a streaming service.
I mean, do you agree? Do you feel like they need to maybe do you think that the story stuff is?
I disagree.
Okay, so you do. So do you
but that's just because I'm more into Digimon, and so
true.
I'm very much enjoy the more introspective storytelling. I've gotten enough action out of Digimon. Unlike most people, I've seen most Digimons. I've seen most of every show, if not the entire shows. Mm-hmm. I've gotten all the Digimon action I could ever handle in my life. But for more casual fans who if they haven't watched Digimon since they saw 2 episodes of Digimon Frontier and said, "Oh, this is not the Digimon I know," and they turned it off.
Yeah.
They haven't hit that quota for action in Digimon, and so you sit down to this movie and it's like,
you know what I think it maybe really is? Because you're right. I think I might be going too hard on the whole just make it mindless action. I think that you can. I just think they should have gone for more of a balance of the two.
It definitely was.
I think that this was 90% introspective kind of interpersonal story and 10% Digimon doing Digimon things
and 15% almost horror.
Yeah, and some horror elements, which I liked. I like the horror elements, but I think maybe kind of trying to balance that out more, where you can have the deep story, you can have the character growth stuff, but just show the Digimon more too. I mean, I just feel like the Digimon weren't present very much in a Digimon movie. So sorry to derail this. I know this wasn't really part of the sort of script or whatever, but. Okay, well, I've got a few quick rapid fire video game stories.
What you got?
I don't think that there's a lot to say about some of these, but the Game Awards 2023 did release its nominees for Game of the Year. There's several different categories, but just for the Game of the Year itself, the nominees are Alan Wake 2.
Didn't play it.
Yeah, I don't know too much about that. Baldur's Gate 3.
Didn't play it.
Yeah, I know Larry plays that. He says he likes it.
That one.
I heard a lot of good stuff about Baldur's Gate 3. So, Marvel Spider-Man 2.
Didn't play it.
Resident Evil 4.
Didn't play it.
Okay, I get it. You haven't played any of the games. I'm just naming them.
I'm just letting the audience know they don't know.
Resident Evil 4, Super Mario Bros. Wonder,
also
and The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom.
Also did not play.
So those are the 6 nominees. I just kind of felt like I would mention it because I have already seen the discourse on this get really pretty nasty on Twitter already, and I guess I'm at this thing with game. I'm always surprised that the Game Awards hold so much weight to people's opinions of their own favorite games,
because it's the Game Awards. That's what they named it. So
yeah.
Your favorite game not getting best game of the year, that means you are stupid. Because
no, I know.
If I keep doing this little satirical thing, if your favorite game of the year is Tears of the Kingdom and it doesn't win game of the year, what did you do all year?
Yeah, I think that's what it is for people, I guess, is there's these camps that people are in. It's not like the console wars, right? Where I guess you have to feel like you got to justify the money that you spent, because otherwise it makes you, I guess, look or feel dumb and incompetent. Because like how
You missed the game of the year and you spent the whole year playing what?
Like, because like how dare but guys, like I'm joking. Like I'm just saying, like I bought an Xbox One and the PlayStation 5 is outselling the Xbox One. And people are saying the PS5 has better games than the Xbox One does. I failed. Like
Clown.
I made the wrong decision. I'm a clown. How dare I pick the stupid losing side?
Bozo.
And it's like it's so wild. Like so when these Game Awards nominees come out, people are already like fussing and fighting. Like why didn't this get nominated? Why isn't Starfield on here? Why isn't Final Fantasy 16 on here? Why isn't some other game that like came out this year on here? And it's like it almost makes it seem as though you can't have enjoyed the game or you can't be a fan of the game like unless it gets all of its flowers. And all I'll say is that the stuff I saw on Twitter about this
Out of pocket.
it's out of pocket, dude. Like people are screaming and hollering and like really getting into like these. It's I swear it's video games, it's anime, and it's like tech, like because computers, smartphones, like there's these camps, and and I guess like sports probably gets like crazy and maniacal like this too.
What you're missing, Paul, is it's actually just everything.
It's really
People get into camps over literally anything that they can, so that they can argue about it online.
Yeah, I guess with video games, it just gets more visibility because they have an actual formal game awards like show. Formal. Yeah, it's like I don't even know who deemed this. Like
why is this the like official source? Weren't there other like game awards like not too long? What about the Golden Stick thing? Like there are actually like other game award type
outlets
things
that do this.
Like
it reminds me.
Is this the Oscars? Is this the Grammys? What is this? The Golden Globes?
Yeah, well, it's funny. I saw like that RDC World skit about like anime fan bases. I don't know if you've seen this.
No, I saw that one.
Like, but you really would think people are in gangs over this because it's so like just the amount of people who are like Nintendo games don't deserve to get Game of the Year because like this reason or that or whatever. The Switch is crap, and so these games are crap. And then someone was like shrieking about like, well, Spider-Man 2 doesn't deserve it because it just came out, and it's just it gets. I don't know. I guess I find that sort of discourse to be like, it gives me anxiety. Like people are so like angry about it. But then it's like I guess I play Yu-Gi-Oh and it gets about the same point, just within a smaller scope.
Like I'm out of my depth with this type of a like prompt because I specifically avoid the general gaming zeitgeist. When games are popular, I don't play them. It doesn't matter if I like them or not. I specifically try not to play games when they're popular. I will play Spider-Man 2. It won't be this year. I know it won't be this year because it's hot this year. It won't be as hot next year. That's when I'm going to play it.
Yeah.
Like, you know what games I like you know what notable games I played this year? Cyberpunk and a bunch of mobile games.
Yeah, I mean, I've only played one like new game this year. I've only played Hogwarts Legacy, and
was Hogwarts Legacy this year?
Yeah, it was like in February though.
Oh, okay.
It might have gotten. Maybe
I guess I played Hogwarts Legacy. I forgot.
I don't know if it got nominated for anything.
No, I guess it was trash and you wasted your time.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I mean, no, that's really like that's how it goes for a lot of these people.
Bro, you want to get your $60 back?
I'm trying to see. Okay, there's a category for most anticipated game. How interesting.
That's nonsense.
It's like a game that isn't out and it's like a most anticipated.
How do you even vote on that?
Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is on there. That's kind of cool.
No, it's not. It's not out yet.
Like, yeah, it's like that's true. Like, I guess I can't have an opinion on it really. Yeah, so that's the Game Awards.
No, I want to hear the rest of the anticipated list. I want to hear this.
What the rest of them are? All right, let's see. Most anticipated game: Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Hades 2.
Wow.
I don't know what that is. Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth.
Wow. It's a Yakuza spinoff.
Okay. Star Wars Outlaws.
Wow. All these games, maybe outside of maybe the Yakuza game, that have like a 50-50 chance of launching broken.
And Tekken 8.
and then Tekken 8, which has like a 60-40 chance of launching as like everyone's number 3 fighting game pick.
Yeah. Well, listen, you're egging them on right now.
I know. Look, I have nothing against these games, but these are really just facts. Most of the games on the most anticipated list, like Some
You
of
know
those are
what?
going to launch broken.
Listen, we're gonna stop this topic right now because I feel like we're just gonna piss everyone. Because like I think our opinions on these games are maybe a little too jaded.
Okay, you're right.
Like because I can already sense people being like, you guys shouldn't talk about it if you hate these games. So
I don't hate the game.
no, they're gonna say it to me too. They're gonna the Game Awards means a lot. And so yeah, so we need to stop laughing because that makes it seem like you're enjoying their suffering and pain. So we will move on to the next quick game story.
Not enjoying your pain.
All right, here's the next quick game story. The PlayStation Portal reviews have been coming in. So I cover this because you might remember we talked about this when it was announced at like Sony's little thing.
It must be one of them slow pods.
Well, it was one of the early ones. So when Sony
Definitely
revealed the
slow.
PlayStation Portal, you guys might remember that we were a little confused about the product, did not really understand everything about it. Reviews are out, and so there's a little bit more context as to what exactly it is and how it works. We've read some of these reviews. It's $200. It's an 8-inch LCD screen, kind of basically just crammed in the middle of a DualSense controller.
Okay.
And it exists. It basically kind of allows you to stream your games from your PS5 that you must own and over Wi-Fi. I still don't really think I get where this product like slots in for people, but what do you think?
So, like most people, I conned on the very idea of it when it was announced, and only after reading some reviews of the product did I finally kind of get an inkling of what Sony was going for here. Was because I couldn't escape the idea that like, well, why would I want to like walk around my house playing my PlayStation 5 on my portal, where I can just go sit like on my couch and play my PS5? Like, why am I forcing myself to be in another room from it to have like a technically suboptimal experience when the optimal experience is just feet away? But that whole remote play deal, I didn't quite understand it at first. So if your PS5 is hooked up to the internet and you take your portal outside and you go to some place with Wi-Fi, you can actually connect to your PS5 from that venue wherever you are and actually stream your PS5 games. I did not realize that you actually can be out of the house and use this thing. Now you are limited to like the type of Wi-Fi you have, and if you're out and about, you can't really control that.
Yeah, see, that's the thing is it's not. You got to be careful with that. You have to like your PS5 can be at home and connected to your Wi-Fi, and then you have to have this also connected to Wi-Fi wherever it is that you are. That said, though, that is a really cool feature, and I hadn't considered that that was a way for it to be used. So I do like that because basically, like it. In a weird way, is like you could leave your PS5 at home from even like a whole trip that you're going on. Like, you know, normally you might bring your PS5 when you're gonna be in a hotel or whatever. It's like, okay, I'll bring my PS5. I can like play in the hotel, but like that also means bringing your PS5. That's a risk if you're flying. That's a lot of space in your luggage. It's it's a big investment. Do you really want to bring this huge thing?
Did I ever tell you about the time I almost traded PS5s?
No.
Yeah, so me and this guy, we're at the airport. I don't remember which one we are at. I think it's the one in Virginia. Anyway, we're at an airport. We both take out from our bags our identical PS5s and load them onto the conveyor belt to be scanned. And neither one of us realize what has just happened until we're walking away to go and get ourselves scanned to make sure we're not carrying anything dangerous. We both kind of look at the conveyor belt and we look at each other like, so like mine's the one in front, right? Is it, no, mine's the one in back, and then yours is the one right there. Yeah. And we're like, okay. And then when they come out of the conveyor, and we're putting on our shoes and whatnot, we're like, so our PS5s are identical. Our bins had nothing else in them. We just had to trust that
you just picked the right one.
We picked the right one, and that the TSA didn't like change the order of the bins.
Yeah, did you? I mean, I guess you got your correct
I
one.
did end up with the correct PS5, but I remember we almost just completely traded them and had no way of confirming it.
Yeah, that's crazy. You know, I guess that's one reason why a person should get like the custom plates or just something.
Just something to distinguish
your console. Yeah, but so taking your PS5, to travel is like, it's involved. So
Facts.
I think with this, you could just take this thing and then trust, I suppose, that your hotel Wi-Fi or the Wi-Fi wherever you will be, your Airbnb or whatever other place, will have like good Wi-Fi, and then you could, in theory, stream your PS5 games onto this thing.
Funnily enough, the Portal actually still has the same problem with hotel Wi-Fi as PS5s do. They can't interface with Wi-Fi that require you to open up a browser to sign in.
I heard there was supposed to be like an update or something that would allow that to.
I hope that they better, because when I take my PS5 out and about, when I go to like different places, I have like a 50-50 shot of being able to use it.
Yeah. Now, also, I read that all the media functions are disabled on this thing.
Yep.
So no Netflix, no YouTube,
just games.
Just games. So like, that's kind of weird.
That's
also,
lame.
It does not have Bluetooth. It uses Sony's like proprietary wireless thing, like headset thing, or you can like plug in headsets and stuff, but you can't just connect like headsets via Bluetooth. So
your AirPods, good luck.
You can get these proprietary PlayStation Link headsets and earbuds, but I don't think those are out yet. Yeah, it says the earbuds come out on December 6th.
Holiday season, y'all.
So don't worry, or do worry, because they cost $200.
What?
Yeah, those little earbuds are $200.
The same price as the Portal.
That's right. And then also the Pulse headset is $149, but that doesn't come out until February of next year. And this PlayStation Portal thing comes out like here in a week or two.
Y'all, don't let Sony do this to you. Don't let Sony milk y'all for everything.
So
y'all already bought a PlayStation.
So basically, this truly is a product for the person who is like in the PlayStation ecosystem. Like if you're Sony's number one fan, right? You are the guy in the console wars. You're the Sony pony or whatever they call them.
Sony pony?
I heard that from Chris. I heard that he said that like 2 or 3 times. It's a Sony pony or whatever. Oh, do you know what the Xbox fans are called? I don't know if they still call them this. When I was like younger, they would call them Xbots. Like you're like a bot. Like you only listen to. Or I've even heard. I heard somebody call Nintendo fanboys Nintendrones.
Nintendo.
So an Xbot, a Nintendrone, a Sony pony, like whatever. Anyway, so yeah. Well, anyways, I think that this is like a product where if you play your PS5 a lot, and you were like Mr. Sony lover, 50, 69, whatever, like you own every Sony accessory, Sony for life. Triangles, squares, circles, and X's for life. Like then this is your thing, and I do see use cases for it. Like I still do think the fact that you could play this out of Starbucks or something, ideally, is cool. I still just don't.
$200 for it, then another like $200 for the headset. Come on, y'all.
And the $500 for the PlayStation 5.
I mean, everyone who y'all should have y'all PS5s, and if you don't even look at a Portal. If you don't have a PS5 right now, do not look at a Portal. Because you don't need one right now. Don't get swindled into some holiday bundle where you get your PS5 and your Portal together. Just get your PS5 this year and maybe get a Portal next year. Now, if you already have your PS5 and the Portal sounds good to you, I guess, but you have to pay for the headset separately.
And I'm sure it's one of those things where like it's also. At the end of the day, like it's as good as the Wi-Fi you've got.
Yeah.
So I mean, like if you're at a place that doesn't have good Wi-Fi, this probably isn't for you. If you're at a place,
if you're from the South,
good luck. Yeah. So that's the PlayStation Portal. It's another one of these little quick game stories. Wanted to kind of talk about it. It sounds like Alec, you will not be getting one.
No.
Although you have a PS5, so you really should be ashamed. I thought you were.
I barely fire up
a proper Sony fanboy. I guess you're not, huh?
I guess I'm not a Sony pony.
Yeah, you're not a Sony pony. Shout out to Chris. Okay. So yeah, got any other stories?
I had a story that turned my stomach.
Oh yikes! Okay.
So
this is AI.
No.
Okay.
No. I had an AI. No. Not getting into that right now. So you familiar with the Arkham series games, right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, there's a new Arkham series game, new-ish. It's coming out rather soon, actually, called Suicide Squad: Kill the Justice League.
That's what the game is called?
Yes, Suicide Squad: Kill the Justice League.
Oh, okay. Cool.
All right. So, like, it's kind of an edgy premise. It's the Suicide Squad. I guess they're a popular group, right? I think people
Harley
like the
Quinn?
Suicide. Yes, she is a member of the Suicide Squad.
All right, yeah.
That's all you got, huh? You can't even mention
I'm
another
going
one.
by what DC markets to me,
Fair enough.
which is that she's the
That's
only
true.
person you need to care about in
That's
that
the
group.
Suicide Squad. It's Harley Quinn. Anyway, so following in the footsteps of the Arkham series, they're making the Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League game.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like the only hope for DC Comics based video games, because the Arkham series was, that was like the best we ever had. And then they made Gotham Knights, which was kind of like a spiritual successor, but it was terrible is the wrong word. Really underwhelming, not what people expected.
Okay, so what's this new one?
So this is supposed to be or at least it was billed originally as being more of a truer Arkham experience, but with these villains. But from what I'm reading here, because pre-orders are launching and they have a video series to go along with it, it's a live service game.
Oh, okay.
Now, I don't know if you've ever played an Arkham series game, Paul. Does any part of like Batman sound
service
like season
experience.
Pass based?
So what is it? Like what is the live service providing?
So this game is more like a looter shooter. Don't think
Like I think Borderlands comes
don't
to
think
mind
Borderlands,
for me.
because that's a good one.
I mean, it is a looter
Think
shooter.
more like Anthem.
Okay.
And so it also has the characters have to be unlocked.
Oh boy, I
Like,
can see where this is going.
Yeah.
So, all right, I'll save everybody a little bit of time on this. Basically, they're taking the handful of DC players who want something like this and juicing them. So you have to unlock characters, you have to unlock skins, you have to unlock whatever, and you get loot and guns and weapons and all that stuff. And how much do you got to pay? Like, is it like $50 for a season pass? Is it like a monthly thing?
There's the standard edition for $69.99.
And it's just getting you the game.
That's getting you the game.
Okay.
But there's also the deluxe edition
Joy.
for $99.99. I love paying $100 for my games, y'all. And you get all the standard edition content, so the game,
Yeah.
but also you get 4 Justice League outfits for each of the squad members. No, 1 for each of the Suicide Squad members, not 4 for each. 1 for each of them. 3 Black Mass themed Notorious weapons. See, Notorious weapons, there's like a ranking system. And so Notorious weapons are some of the best weapons you can get because it's a looter shooter and you're collecting guns. You get 4 Squad Golds themed weapon dolls. I don't even know what that means, but since it's a weapon collector now, instead of being like a proper Arkham game, I guess I want that too. 1 premium battle pass token, because we love battle passes.
Okay. So I guess by getting, because that's probably, so by getting the deluxe version, you get like your first battle pass thing for free. Cool.
And 72-hour early access to start your live service.
Doing that. Yeah, a lot of these games are doing that. Like get the game 3 days early. I don't think that's like a bad pre-order benefit, sort of their deluxe benefit, but like it's also just release the game earlier then.
Like reading that this game has become a battle pass hellscape live service monstrosity, it turned my stomach. I was very unhappy to see that.
I have a question.
What you got?
This is not related to this game exactly. Whatever happened to that Marvel Duel or DC Duel Force game?
Oh, the card game.
Yeah, is that like still that app? Is that still
I
like
guess
a thing?
it's still around.
I know, like when you talked about it before, like you were kind of saying that it was a little.
I mean, I was
it didn't
suspect
have a
about it,
mobile.
and I'm still suspect about it. But
It didn't have a mobile version yet, right?
I don't think so.
I think it was
no.
only okay.
I don't
You
think-
should
I don't-
revisit that. I want to hear more about that.
I mean, but I don't want to.
Okay. Well, anyways, yeah, no, I wanted to hear more about like if that's still like a
Because
thing.
like my feelings on DC Dual Force is now it needs to earn my attention back. I They didn't earn it the first time. I stumbled upon it and I gave it a try because it's DC Comics.
Yeah.
I was very whelmed with my experience, not all that impressed, and it led me to stop playing. Now, if DC Dual Force has to do something, like
Yeah.
I'm not turning that game on because I feel no reason to do it.
Well, hopefully this new Suicide Squad game can prove to be of some value. I really do think that this is one of those things where they just are just hoping to like spend some monthly bucks out of people.
I think the Arkham series is known for its storytelling. Like those games are good for that. If the story of the game is still solid, that can carry it through. But I swear to God, if they gate any story elements behind this battle pass,
That would suck. I hope they don't do that.
Man.
Yeah, that would not be good. I mean, I can't, I guess, weigh in too much. I'm not like a huge, DC head. I don't know too much about like the different things that they're doing. So maybe it's like funny. I guess it's like Marvel used to be like the really popular one. I mean, it still is like probably more popular, but like I think it gets more heat now than DC does. But it sounds like DC is not to be left in the dust in terms of
taking L's,
sort of predatory like consumer practices. So yeah. Anyway, so it sounds like you're not giving this one a crack.
I'm going to force myself to stay optimistic because.
Oh, so you are going to get it, or considering?
I haven't jumped off the ledge of not getting the game yet. I'm definitely not pre-ordering it. I don't pre-order games. I'm never doing that ever again. I forget the last game I pre-ordered. I was very unhappy with, so I'm just never doing that again. And but like, I'll be watching this game very closely in the months leading up to its release because there's still a chance I'm just gonna be like, nope.
Yeah. Well, I think that's all the stories I have.
Oh, I'm all wrapped up too.
You got all your stories. Okay, cool. Well, in that case, I suppose it's time to draw some cards from the
Pot of Greed.
Viewer questions. Let's see what we have.
Mix them up a little bit.
Sure, there's a few exciting things to talk about.
Okay.
Like I said, guys, we don't mind the idea of you guys maybe making a Google form, or we'll make the Google form. You guys can use the Google form. Oh, quick announcement I forgot to mention at the start of the podcast. We will be attending Anime NYC this weekend, so you might be able to see us there if you guys are going to be there. Come say hi. New York City. We'll have Yu-Gi-Oh cards. I'm going to go to the Beckett grading service place.
Get some things graded.
I think it'll be fun. All right. Anywho, my first question: what could Pokemon learn from Yu-Gi-Oh?
Like, it's usually the reverse when you think about it.
Yeah, usually I find myself thinking like Yu-Gi-Oh should take some practice from Pokemon, like the mixed rarity stuff and all that. But I think, okay, well, does anything come to mind for you that Pokemon could learn from Yu-Gi-Oh? I think I've kind of got something.
Like, I haven't figured it out myself, but I feel like it has something to do with the competitive aspect of the game and promoting that.
Yeah, so the thing is, competitive Pokemon TCG, actually, it exists. It has cash prizes. That's something we don't have. And it's like a thing. People take it seriously. But I do think that within the Pokemon space, it feels like relative to the overall brand and like the overall game, people are not super into like Pokemon TCG stuff compared to how like in Yu-Gi-Oh! The competitive TCG is kind of the main part of the conversation. So, I mean, I think maybe Pokemon could afford to like try to promote its TCGs like competitive scene more, but that
in some ways I feel like it's out of their hands. Like I feel like a lot of the hype around collecting Pokemon was done outside of their control. They didn't make people want to collect Pokemon cards. Logan Paul did.
Let's see. I think something that Pokemon could also maybe learn is like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe like, 'cause I think that as far as rarities go, the two games handle with their rarities so differently. Like normally, I always say like, oh, games should kind of look to Yu-Gi-Oh for like ways of doing creative rarities that look really regal and like clean and stuff. Because I do like Yu-Gi-Oh's rarities, But I think Pokemons are equally like unique and interesting and good looking. So I don't know if I have anything.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's weird to say. I think Pokemon's like their TCG is just fine.
Like,
But maybe
it's
maybe
fine.
a Pokemon TCG person should weigh in here.
Yeah, I would. This is one where I would like to get somebody who plays the Pokemon TCG. Maybe not just because I think if you collect it, there's nothing to say here, or less to say here. I would assume. But like for people who play the Pokemon TCG, do you think that there's something that Yu-Gi-Oh does a little bit better? I got a random one. Zoned playmats. They don't seem to make very many zoned like playmats in Pokemon. And I know that Pokemon like the exact zone stuff is not that important.
It's a bit more freeform.
But like, I just noticed anytime I look for like an official Pokemon mat, there's like never
No zones.
I never see zones.
Just clean.
So that's a super tiny thing. But if somebody wants to weigh in and inform us, what would be
Yeah, we'll take that.
a more tangible thing if you play both games or something? What would be it? All right, what about you?
So this one I thought I was hoping would be buried underneath all the other questions, but for some reason I picked it up first.
What do you have?
What mobile games does Alec play?
Oh, okay, we'll go for it.
So
Let's hear it.
I saw that question like twice now, so I figured I'd answer it. I tried to avoid it, but here we are. So I've been playing mobile games for a long time. My first kind of mobile game was like Brave Frontier way back in 2009, 2010, sometime about there. And yeah, I spent a lot of money. Deleted that account because it was getting entirely too bad, and I didn't learn my lesson for years. So what I'm currently playing, Honkai Star Rail. That's a favorite of mine.
Popular one right now.
I have played Genshin Impact. I can't say I've stopped really playing. I still have it installed on my computer. Azure Lane, I play that one on my phone like decently often. I can't stop playing it because I'm just too invested. It's a whole sunk cost fallacy at play here. I can never truly stop playing my mobile games.
That's the one with the ship girls.
That's the one with ship girls.
The girls are named after ships.
World War II battleships, aircraft carriers, destroyers, cruisers, that sort of thing. There's plenty more. I gotta keep going. Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis. That one released this year. I've played that one off and on. I
You played the first soldier, right?
the first soldier. I did play the first soldier. That one
down.
got shut down though. That was the battle royale Final Fantasy shooter kind of game. It was decent. I just didn't love that it was mobile. I would have liked to play that one on like desktop. I gotta keep going. Snowbreak Containment Zone. I've been playing that one a lot lately. It's a gotcha game, anime waifu, third person shooter. Not bad. It's still a work in progress. They haven't really figured it out. Speaking of shooters, Nikkei. I've been playing that one on my phone more often. They just had
down bad games. It's one of those down bad games.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. It's pretty down bad. It's pretty down bad. But I guess you could call it a shooter. That'd be a stretch. But
the girls shoot.
They shoot guns.
So.
But they just had their first anniversary, so I've been playing a lot of that lately. Wait, let me pull out my phone to make sure I didn't leave any others out.
Yeah,
1 second.
I know Alec is a mobile game guy.
Let's see. I have Call of Duty Mobile. That's gonna be a long time.
What about Fate Go? Do you play that? Still?
So a
Grand
lot
Order.
of games go on my kind of like backlog in a sense. I only have so much money, and I do spend. So if I'm playing a game, I'm probably spending on it. So I try to limit how many games are in rotation at a time, but I never delete them. And as they update and have their events, I usually just fire them back up again. So yeah, Fate Grand Order, big time favorite of mine. Very expensive, so I try not to play it too much. I'd say Call of Duty Mobile. They had a Ghost in the Shell collab that I really enjoyed. So I played that, and I still have it, and I do play it from time to time. Near Reincarnation, they had a Final Fantasy 14 collaboration and a Near Automata collaboration that I played in both of those, really enjoyed it. They actually ran the Final Fantasy 14 collab twice. I played both of them, got all the characters. It did cost me a lot. Moving on. I have Gundam UC Engage. That's a new old one. I say new old because it's new for us in the West, but it's actually old in Japan. But that's a kind of turn-based tactical Gundam-based game. What else do I have? Oh, Blue Archive. I don't play this one a lot, but I spent too much money to delete it, so it's still here and I can't delete it. Yeah.
Okay, so you mobile gamer here.
I have played a lot.
I will say, obviously, I don't really play a lot of mobile games myself. I guess if Master Duel counts.
Oh, Tact OP. I forgot about that one.
Okay. Yeah, if Master Duel counts, that's my mobile game of choice. I guess does Duel Links count? Do you play? I know you haven't played too much Duel Links lately.
I always forget to mention Duel Links because it's a given. But yeah, I mean, I have Duel Links. I haven't played as much Duel Links because I spend, and Duel Links is like a never-ending well of spending.
They say it's a lot worse than Master Duel is for like taking your money. Yeah, I play Master Duel. I've never been able to get into mobile games too much. The times that I've tried, it's always like kind of blown up in my face. Like I wanted to maybe play some of the Infinite Runner games. Like I played that Sonic one for a little bit. I wasn't really able to stick with it.
Infinite Runners, Paul. This is not 2010 anymore.
You know, there's like still like what's the newest one? Like Subway Surfers or something. They play that on the bottom.
Subway Surfers is not the newest one,
or whatever it is. There's one that they play on the bottom of the TikToks. Like you know, when there's like a TikTok or whatever, like an Instagram reel, and it's like here's an important thing that someone has to say, and then here's gameplay of an Infinite Runner on the bottom half of the screen to keep your like mind engaged. I tried to play that one Nintendo game, and it like Dragalia lost. I was like, okay, I'm gonna play a mobile game, and it seemed pretty cool, and like it got like shut down like months after I started that.
I mean, the writing is on the wall. I mean, if you pay attention, most of these games, especially if they're on like Google Play or something, you can see their revenue from month to month. It's like public information.
So when that's going down,
you can usually tell when a game is gonna go.
I feel like your mobile gaming habits also kind of inform maybe your views on like buying packs and stuff.
Yeah. So yeah, guys, I have a problem. I mean, I gotta be very clear about this. I do have a problem. Oftentimes I believe that if I want something, I should just spend the money to go get it. That comes from and is fed by my gacha gaming addictions. Everyone says like, "Oh, I hate the pull rates in this game," or "I hope I can pull X new character." I never say those types of things. The things I say either I want the character or I don't. And if I do, I will spend until I get it.
Yeah, I think that's actually kind of important to bring up just because, like, for a lot of people who are probably listening to this podcast, I know, like, I'll see in the comments, people are like, Alec is, like, so crazy. Because, like, you know, you've said in the past about how, like, the idea of buying packs to kind of get what you want that's not, like, an unappealing sort of proposition for you. And if the card is something that you want. And I think, like, a lot of people hear that and they're sort of like, wow, that's, like, really crazy.
It is.
And it certainly is out there, or at least, you know, the companies like it. But yeah, I guess that just kind of contextualizes it. If you're used to playing gacha games, I see how a person might end up kind of just being okay with spinning for the thing that they need.
And that's only if you're not a free to play gacha game player. Most gacha game players are free to play, or they're very light spenders, like they're dolphins. I have definitely been a whale at times.
Is that a term, a dolphin? I've heard of the term whale. I've never heard of dolphin.
Yeah. So in like gacha gaming, I would call like 90% of the player base is probably like free to play.
Is that like a fish?
I mean, they're not even in the water.
Fish.
And then you have like dolphins who kind of spend when they're like really interested, or they'll like buy the most economical things, the economical packages.
Maybe been a dolphin sometimes then.
But like when you whale, you kind of throw caution to the wind. But guys, I can't be a whale anymore. My student loans have come due, so I have officially retired as a whale. I'm you know.
Help Alec pay his student loans by liking the podcast.
That part of my life is over. When it hit October and I got the feds start knocking on my door and ringing my phone, I'm no longer a whale.
All right, well, I've got the next question.
Oh, I need one too.
Konami bring back drafts? Is what this person asked. Will Konami bring back drafts? So, will they bring it back?
Maybe should they bring
it back? I think so. Will they bring it back? It doesn't seem super likely, but I would like it if they did. I guess with drafts, I like the idea of drafting. I think it's very fun. I think it's very cool. We've done a lot of the different Battle Pack draft products as videos. We tried to do one recently as a tag duel. Did not upload it because the video footage was kind of not great.
It was scuffed, y'all.
There was a glare on a lot of the cards, and it was hard to see everything on the mat because there's like 4 people. But anyway, I think that the draft sets are really cool. I think that they're well designed. Like Battle Pack 1 was, it's really crazy. It's a very hot and cold set. But like with Battle Pack 2, War of the Giants, they kind of cleaned it up and I think made a slightly cleaner, more balanced Battle Pack. And the Battle Pack 3 is, by most people, seen as the most fun one that they've done. But all of this actually is predated by the fact that Yu-Gi-Oh! Used to do draft with mainline sets, like at sneak peeks and stuff when they would release, kind of back in that like DM and like early GX era, and it worked really well. I think that you can't really draft packs today because everything is so like archetype driven, and like a lot of times the archetype support that you're getting is like 2 or 3 or 4 new cards for some archetype that came out years ago. And so I couldn't just do a draft of like, you know, Cyberstorm Access, Duelist Nexus, like Age of Overlord, because I'll pull like a couple of new cards for something that's really old. Like I couldn't draft with like the Unchained cards in Duelist Nexus because there's technically only like 3 or 4 of them, right?
They'd be useless.
So it'd just be kind of useless. And the same goes for many things. So if they made a new approach to draft, they would have to release new draft products that are like made for drafting.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I agree 100%. You didn't say anything I disagree with.
Yeah. I mean, what type of like maybe theme would you want for a draft product? Like if they were to do one. I know we've played all the like kind of speed duel stuff.
I would like to see, I'd like to see a pendulum draft product, because pendulums, like most things, are actually more generic than they are archetypal. You do have archetypal pendulums that only work within an archetype, but a lot of what pendulums have are just general cards.
I would like to see that too. I think it could be fun because then cards like Wavering Eyes are suddenly super duper relevant.
Oh yeah, that would crush you.
Maybe even a little toxic. Maybe I shouldn't put that in the pack. But
it's not so bad. When everyone has a Wavering Eyes, it's kind of like if everybody in the room has like a gun with like 1 bullet. It's like, so who's going to draw, right?
Yeah.
In a way, you don't want to play your Wavering Eyes.
I think that'd be really fun though. Like a pendulum draft set. I always think it'd be neat to have like a Link draft set, but then it's like I don't really like Link monsters.
I'm not a fan.
So you have to be very particular with which ones you do and don't include, because there's so many like Link ones that are really busted.
But I feel like with a Link draft, it would be extremely samey.
Because then it's like, what monsters do you put in there?
All the ones that just summon for free.
It's just going to be like Cyber Soup and like just token generating things.
And then the Crusadia.
The Crusadia, just monsters that just summon. Because I think that might get a little bit more boring. This is like a slight tangent, but I think that like a problem that I actually have with the modern Link monster, it's not entirely like the case, but largely the arrows don't matter anymore.
They've abandoned the Link mechanic.
Yeah, the Link mechanic, right, has been kind of just, it's just irrelevant now. It's obsolete. Because Link monsters are still good, obviously. People are still summoning Apollosa. They're still making access code. They're obviously SP Little Knight, right?
When was the last time you got U-linked?
Yeah, but yeah, U-linking doesn't happen anymore. Even just the kind of whole like pointing to mechanics don't really come up anymore. You might see the occasional like stray, relinquished anima, perhaps, right? Like it can take something it points to.
Can't Salamangreat do it? No, I guess not.
They don't really. I mean, like Sunlight Wolf still does that. Like if you summon something to where it's pointing.
Yeah, they do that. Yeah.
So like, there's a little of it, but I do feel that by and large, the arrows have become irrelevant, and it's just more about, is it Boral End Dragon and Access Code? They're busted and strong, or just is it a Link one that when summoned gets some effect, that gets some advantage? But the arrow part doesn't matter as much, and I think that that was at its most creative with cards like Geonator Transverser. If you remember that,
you lost me.
It's this little rock like Earth Link 2 where like the two things it's pointing to, like it points like there and like there, like diagonal up and like diagonal kind of down the other way. It switches control of the monsters. And I also thought that was like a really cool thing.
That's fun.
It can be like a way of outing stuff. Like, oh, you've got this troublesome boss monster, but I can literally just put a monster here and then make my Geonator in the extra monster zone. And like, I get it, that's not for everyone. And obviously it's...
Why not just use Anima?
Well, but Anima, it's got to be like pointing to it. So...
Oh.
So in avoiding relinquished anima, they will put their monster in a zone that would allow Geonator Transverser to,
Got it.
that sort of thing. I think like making the columns and the zones and the arrow thing is like what made links seem unique. And now that they have kind of reverted the master rule, you only really use links for like boss monsters and combo extenders.
And link ones, because that's the only extra deck monster you can make with just one thing, with one card.
Yeah, so in that way, I just think like a link, if they made like a link draft pack, I would want it to focus on those elements. And I think that might be kind of hard to do, but it would be cool.
Fair.
Anyways, that's it for the draft. Should they bring it back? Yes. Will they bring it back?
So this
Probably
was a
not.
hot take that I read. Deck builder sets should be structure decks.
I've said this in the past, and I agree asterisk.
I am actually also agreeing with an asterisk.
Okay. So here's my asterisk. I think that deck builder sets are wonderful. They really are very cool. I like that the decks can be kind of built from the pack, right? Like you have everything you need. Sometimes mainline sets don't do that, or there's just like so much kind of support stretched across many different sets or whatever. And I like that. I think that's cool. I also think the deck builder sets here, usually they're well balanced, all that stuff, blah, blah, blah. The reason, though, that I'm a little apprehensive about them being structure decks is I don't think that they would be successful for Konami in terms of like sales. Because A, once you've bought the structure, you don't have to buy more.
Oh, you need to buy 3.
Yeah, but then like that's it. You buy 3 and you'll never buy them again. And also, like you were saying actually earlier on this same podcast, there are usually like is the archetype everyone wants to build, the archetype some people want to build, and the archetype that virtually nobody wants to build. And you can look at nearly any deck builder set and find that trend. And so by like kind of having them all just in one set, we're forced to deal with all the archetypes regardless. If there was, just taking the last one, Wild Survivors, as the example, the Vanquish Soul structure deck would probably sell pretty well. The Nouvelle structure deck and the Transcendosaurus structure decks probably would both just not. And for Konami in that case, it's like, well, what's your asterisk?
It's actually much the same. I like the idea of just being able to get my hands on all the new deck builder stuff, like for one even price instead of having to pull packs. But yeah, you have to market that somehow. Like, how do you sell that to people? They don't know who these monsters are.
Or like what it's
some
for.
might catch their eye. Some probably won't.
You know what it kind of makes me think of?
What?
How Magic does so many of their whenever there's a new set, there's like 4 new commander decks for it, and they all just get released, and that's always so wild to me. But like, they do that, and it's like every like 3 months. And
they have the
Yu-Gi-Oh,
same
meanwhile,
situation.
we only get like maybe 2-3 structures a year. So I think, that's what. Do they have the same situation where people kind of don't?
There's some commander decks are considered worth it, and some are not considered worth it. And so that Magic is ruled by its market price, so you can tell which ones have the value because they'll have a higher market price than the others. And the ones that people don't want as much will sit on shelves for much, much longer. And but hey, new products coming out in a month or whatever. So
yeah, so you almost don't have to care. It reminds me too of what we were talking about earlier, like that Ruxin video where there's just so many Yu-Gi-Oh products that kind of coming out in rapid fire, and it makes you wonder, would people just get overloaded by this sort of thing? Like, would it just maybe seem like, okay, like it's a bit much? People might just decide they'll get fatigued and just skip things,
right?
Just because I'll just wait because there's going to be more stuff in 2 more weeks and more stuff in 2 more weeks after that. So, I think they'd be like better suited to structure decks, sure, but I don't think they would sell super consistently well, and then Konami would probably.
Yeah, it might be a problem.
They probably just wouldn't like that very much. So, one last thing about the draft thing, just that I thought about with that question, like will Konami bring back draft? Player interest plays such a big role in these things. We reminded me of it when we were talking about like the deck builder packs as structures. With draft, Konami has tried draft in the past.
Yep.
I think in like 2012 or so, when like the battle pack first came out, they made it where like you had to use it at YCS events, in the top cut, and that wasn't very popular among players. And so it's just one of those cases of like, people will say that a thing would be a good idea, but like, will they put their money where their mouth is? And in a lot of cases, they kind of won't. So much like with like draft, people didn't really buy a lot of those draft sets. You'd see them sitting at one Walmart and Target shelves, just no one bought them.
And now we can barely find them.
Yeah, so now they're just completely, they're gone. But the same sort of goes for if they did like a Vanquish Soul and a Nouvelle structure and a Transcendosaurus structure. Those Nouvelle and Transcendosaurus structures might just be on shelves, not selling, and then shops just kind of won't stock that anymore because they learned the hard way. Oh, well, people don't buy this, so like why, So.
Gotta fill them with them good reprints.
So my honest question then is like, if they did these deck builder sets as structures, would you buy them? Like for people listening or watching or whatever, like
I'd buy the Nouvelles.
Like you'd buy the Nouvelles?
I'd buy the Nouvelles, yeah.
Would you buy Transcendosaurus?
No, I'm not interested.
Do you think the average person would buy Transcendosaurus?
Maybe. Dinosaurs are cool.
But do you think they would?
Maybe.
Like what do you think is would be the distribution? Like X% Vanquish Soul.
I think Transcendosaurus would probably sell more than Nouvelles would.
I think Nouvelles might get it just because Hungry Burger, like the meme kind of.
That's Yu-Gi-Oh players, but like a general public.
You think the general public might be more into it?
Yeah, I think they just.
I think either way, they're both going to be 20% of sales total. I think it's going to be a lot of competitive people try to buy the Vanquish Soul thing, and then we're just fighting for scraps between the other two.
Yep.
And local card shops will have a bunch of them sitting on the shelf that never sell, and it's just the end of the story.
Those are the ones that end up at CVS and Walgreens, and you just kind of see them.
And there's going to be someone who's listening to this and saying "Oh, Paul, you're complaining again." But I'm telling you, man, we've seen the darkness of how when a set doesn't, when products don't sell and sit on shelves forever and rot. Players will swear up and down that this would be cool, but if they don't buy it, Konami ain't they'll learn. So,
facts.
Anyways, I think that's it for the podcast.
Those were our questions.
Yeah, thank you guys for submitting them. Thank you guys for your positive reviews. As always, drop likes, leave comments, leave positive reviews on Apple, Spotify, wherever it is that you're listening.
And let us know how you feel about using Google Forms going forward.
Yeah. And, of course, any thoughts, comments, topics, feedback on anything that we talked about today.
Yeah.
Sweet. We'll see you guys in the next one.
Pass turn.